All right, let's just get right into it. Look, most of the dating advice you hear is, frankly, surface-level bullshit. It's all about what line to use or how long to wait to text back. But today, we're going way deeper. We're talking about the actual root cause, the hidden operating system in your head that's running your love life and probably running it straight into a brick wall.
I mean, seriously, think about it. Does it feel like you're stuck in some kind of horrible loop? You meet a girl, things are actually going well for once, and then, bam, you do the exact same stupid thing you did last time and the time before that. It is frustrating as hell. So in this explainer, we're going to dig into exactly why that keeps happening. So, those screw-ups, let's call them what they are, sticking points. But here's the thing that almost every guy gets wrong. These aren't the real problem. Nope, they're just the symptoms of something much, much deeper. I'm willing to bet some of these look painfully familiar, right? You try to escalate and you just get slammed with last-minute resistance. Or you try to be playful, throw out a little neg, and it just lands like a straight-up insult. Or maybe you just freeze up at the exact moment you're supposed to make a move. You know, these are the classic ways it all falls apart, and they all come from the same place. And this is the whole point. This isn't about learning one more trick or practicing one more technique. Trying to fix your outer game, what you're actually doing, without fixing the cause, that's like putting a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. It's pointless. The real problem is inside. It's the map in your head. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the map you're using to navigate your life. Because every single one of us has one, whether you realize it or not. And if your map is wrong, it doesn't matter how good your car is or how fast you drive, you're just going to get more and more lost. We call this your model of the world. And you can think of it like an internal GPS for reality. But here's the real kicker. You didn't consciously build this thing. It was basically built for you. It's this messy combination of beliefs you picked up from your parents, from society, from your past experiences, and a whole lot of it is just flat out wrong.
So here's the simplest way to think about it. Your outer game is what you do. It's your skills, your techniques. Your inner game, that's your world model, is what you believe. One is the symptom, the other is the root cause. You can practice techniques until you're blue in the face, but if your core beliefs are fundamentally fucked, you will always, always find a way to sabotage yourself.
Just let that sink in for a second. If your internal map was actually accurate, if it really reflected how men and women actually interact, this stuff would all feel completely obvious. You wouldn't need to study it, you just get it. The very fact that you're struggling is the ultimate proof that your map is flawed. Okay, so where does all this self-sabotage actually come from? Well, it happens when different parts of your internal map contradict each other, or when your map just doesn't line up with reality. These are what we call model conflicts, and they are the source of pretty much all of your sticking points. And here is the single biggest red flag that you have a model conflict. You decide you're going to do something. You set an intention, like, tonight I'm going to approach 3 women. You mean it, you really do. But when the moment comes, you just don't. That hesitation, that feeling of resistance, that's not you being a coward. That's your internal model screaming at you that what you're about to do is wrong or dangerous. All right, let's look at how this plays out in real time. You've probably heard about using affirmations, right? You stand in front of the mirror and you tell yourself something positive. Something like this: I am confident and powerful. You're trying to install a new belief. But what happens in the split second right after you say it? You have to pay attention to that next moment. Because there's a voice that responds instantly, automatically, without you even trying. And whatever that voice says, well, that's the key to everything. And there it is, the model collision. We call these tag ends. You say, I'm powerful, and your brain immediately fires back, but I'm not powerful around hot women. That automatic comeback, that little voice that whispers, that's total bullshit. That is your real model talking. And those little tag ends are the exact lines of broken code you need to find and completely delete. So how do we start fighting back? Well, we stop living entirely inside our own heads, and we start actually looking at the real world. You have to basically become a detective for your own life, hunting for any evidence that proves your limiting beliefs are the complete bullshit they really are. The source material gives this absolutely perfect example. Let's say you have a belief that says, I have to be rich and in great shape to get a hot girl. Then you go out in the real world and you see this. Some dude who clearly hasn't seen the inside of a gym in decades, wearing beat-up clothes, and he's with an absolute knockout. This right here is a real-world counterexample, and it's like a direct missile aimed at your faulty map. And the crazy part is, you've probably seen this 1,000 times before, but your brain just filters it out. It invents excuses.
oh, he must be secretly rich, or that's probably his cousin. See, your model protects itself by blinding you to reality. So your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to force your eyes open and actively hunt for the proof that your old beliefs are total garbage.
Okay, so now for the real work. We've talked about what the problem is, but now let's get to the actual tool you can use to dig up these toxic beliefs and, rip them out by the root.
This tool is called the 5 Whys. It's incredibly simple and it's brutally effective. You just start with the problem. I always get last-minute resistance. And then you ask why. Why? Well, because I feel awkward escalating. Why do you feel awkward? Because I'm afraid of coming off as creepy. Keep digging. Why are you afraid of that? Because when I was a kid, my parents teased me whenever I showed interest in a girl. And boom, there it is. You just uncovered the core belief. Showing attraction leads to embarrassment. You just found a line of programming that's been running your life since you were a little kid. And honestly, here's the best part. You don't need years of therapy for this stuff. A lot of the time, just dragging that belief out of the dark and into the light of day is enough to start killing it. When you look at it as a grown man and realize how utterly idiotic it is, it just starts to lose its power over you. Awareness really is the first and most important step.
Okay, but this is critical. When and where do you actually do this kind of work? Because doing it at the wrong time will just screw you up even more. You absolutely have to separate your work into 2 distinct environments.
So think of it like this. You have the lab and you have the field.
This is why this internal work is so incredibly powerful. We're not playing whack-a-mole here, trying to fix one little sticking point at a time. No, when you find and resolve a single core model conflict, like that attraction equals embarrassment belief, you don't just fix one problem. You can wipe out dozens of symptoms, dozens of sticking points all in one shot. It is a massive, system-wide upgrade.
So, I'm just going to leave you with this question. Everything you've been through in your dating life up to this exact moment, it's all been the result of that faulty map you've been using. You now have the tools to basically throw that old map in the trash and draw a new one that's actually based on reality. So the only question left is, where do you want the new one to take you?